TV Live! Coming up, an interview with Skyler Basco.
We interrupt this program to bring you special report.
Hey everybody, welcome back. You know my next guest tonight is a two-time product management intern at Microsoft, a content creator, keynote speaker, and it's the founder and career coach on her new nonprofit, Students to Big Tech LLC. Please welcome Skyler Basco. Wow, is this really happening? The Skyler Basco is in the house. Skyler, such an honor to have you on. We're so thrilled for this moment. Thanks for being here.
Oh yeah, thank you so much.
Many of your close friends, partners, and fans know you as one of the top, legendary, youngest keynote speakers of our generation. And I know 2024 has already started for many of us, but I want to get a sense of what's going through your mind in terms of the work that you love to do, the platforms that you have, and the startups that you have, and the new beginnings that you're about to set in this new year.
I'm doing amazing. It's a great start to 2024. I think even though we're less than a month in, like it's been one of the best years yet already. There's so many exciting announcements that I have in store that I can't even talk about yet, but I'll talk about some of them in this podcast. So let's dive straight into it.
Interestingly enough, 2023 has been the year for content creation in itself. We have seen a spark rise in content creators by 40% throughout the year. Can you walk us through where did your journey in content creation began, and how did you tie that up with the accolades and the achievements that you have achieved in your career? And do you remember the first time you've ever given the Basco treatment towards a small group of audience before it actually became a big thing for those who constantly seek internships in the real world?
Yeah, of course. I think that's a really great and important question to address, especially since social media can get you really far, as you can see from so many content creators out there on LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, and so much more. For me, my content creation journey first started technically when I was a little kid. I would go at home, and since I grew up in like a white dominated type of school system, and I was like the only woman, like person of color usually in the class, I would go home and like my friends were YouTubers. So I would watch YouTubers like Mr. Beast and Joey Graceffa. I would watch a lot of Minecraft YouTubers, and I was like, oh my God, I want to be like this. Like, I want to be a YouTuber when I grow up, or like I want to be internet famous. Like, I feel like this is the only way I will get heard, because I was super shy growing up. I started doing my own vlogs, like just like to myself. Every time I come back from high school and something interesting happened, I would vlog it, but I would never post it. However, I started my YouTube channel back in, I think around like 2022. I did my first ever software engineering internship during winter of my freshman year, called the Bitly Software Engineering Internship. It was like 3 weeks. I did a vlog of a day in the life, but it was kind of like satire. So I did like a trap remix, a Google Meet trap remix. I did some funny things like in the video, and like did some
trap remix is that's amazing.
Yeah,
really
thank you. Yeah, I just made sure my manager approved of it, and it was like, she was like, oh yeah, that's really nice. Like, I love it, good to go. I didn't think it would be approved, but somehow it did. And
how many
people
bleeps were there before this even came out?
How many bleeps? There weren't many. Like, I have like a completely like clean channel. Like, it's not anything. So it's like a fun trap remix. Educated them about tech as well. I started doing a few more YouTube videos. I eventually did challenges like coding until I stopped eating spicy wings. I did like coding only on my iPhone, coding only. I was doing like coding only using an Apple Watch, but I like discontinued it. But essentially, like I then got into Microsoft like by the end of freshman year, summer. It was a Microsoft New Technologies internship. It was remote. Like, COVID was happening at the time. and I did the vlog on it. I got it approved by the Microsoft team, and it has been viewed by like so many people who then approached me the next summer and said like, "Hey Skyler, I applied to Microsoft New Technologies because of you, and I got in because of you, because of your video that you posted." And that like really warmed my heart there because I did a trap remix. I just did a vlog and like posting tips there. So I didn't really expect it to get that big. But I eventually just stopped posting because YouTube is like super, super draining. Like it takes a lot to make a YouTube video. But then I realized there are forms of short form content, such as TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts. Like all these were becoming very popularized as I started to like kind of leave YouTube. The last video I posted was about a design-a-thon. It's just like a hackathon, but for design. Essentially, I entered a period after my Microsoft New Technologies internship where I was on the grind. I was at my lowest. I was burned out. This was like literally last year, like the beginning of last year. So from like 2023, the first 6 months of 2023, I didn't do anything, like super unmotivated. I was like, I'm never gonna be the YouTuber I wanted to be. I'm never gonna be a content creator. Like I failed at it. Like so I just kind of stopped. I just like went on with school, did whatever. But Microsoft Explore, the internship that I did over the summer, like actually really changed my life and it boosted my motivation. I did the internship over this past summer and I learned how to live independently. I flew across the country from New York to Seattle. And keep in mind that I don't live in a college dorm. I live at home, the home that I have been throughout my entire life in New York. And I learned to live by myself. I learned to live in a hotel by myself, and then I live in like a 4-person dorm at University of Washington during the summer, which is where we're staying for Microsoft interns. I learned how to be independent. I learned how to survive a big girl boss corporate environment, a big environment where there are adults of like all ranges, and I was super intimidated, but I had to like really just be confident and fake it until I make it. And eventually I faked the happiness, I faked the confidence so much that I actually felt confident, I felt happy. And as I went through the internship, I saw that transformation in myself. So it was not only about getting to know more about product management and software engineering and learning that I loved product management, but it was also a revival of my dreams. Because after that, after my Microsoft internship, is when I became super serious about LinkedIn and Instagram. This was where the magic happened. So I basically, I posted about my Microsoft internship at the end of my Microsoft internship, right? And I signed up for this conference called Grace Hopper Celebration because I didn't think I would get a return offer from Microsoft as a PM intern for the following summer, or like as a design intern, like, or whatever intern, because I thought because I was so burnt out, like I didn't make a good impression, I was shy. So
And was this the first time that you got into Microsoft, or was this during like the second time you wanted to return to Microsoft?
So this was my second internship at Microsoft. So I did the new technologies internship remotely, and then over this past summer, it was in person in Washington.
What was different about that process, do you think?
So to get into Microsoft New Technologies, it was definitely an easier application. There were about like 2,000 plus people who applied at the time, but now it's like definitely increasing. It's probably going to increase to like 10K this year, or like maybe even 20K applicants. They select 100 people or like 50 people nowadays, and you have to submit literally just your resume, a cover letter, and a video recorded interview about just like one prompt. It was like, describe yourself in 4 words and why. And then after that, the month after I submitted the application, this was back in like freshman year, I then had to, I was moved to round 2. I was super excited, super pumped. I was like, no way, that's crazy. And then I got a coding assessment, and I had not taken that much of like a coding class. I took like an intro to HTML, CSS, but this was about actual programming. So I just had to like really, like try my best, like look at leak code, like Stack Overflow, things like that. And I only got 2 out of the 6 questions right for the coding. So I was so scared at that point. But my essays, I put my heart and soul into. I talked about YouTube. I talked about my love for tech, for diversity, how I grew up, and like how I'm an advocate for women in tech and for people of color in tech. I got in the next week, I think. I think I got in the next week and I accepted the offer immediately. For Microsoft Explore, I ended up basically from the new technologist internship, which is the remote internship, they evaluate who gets a referral from the program. I got a referral from the new technologist internship based on my performance. Most people did. And I got a referral for the Microsoft Explorer program, which was a 12-week internship, as opposed to new technologist, which was only 7 weeks of PM and software engineering. Explorer was 6 weeks of PM, 6 weeks of software engineering, a bit of design like in there because I love design, so I was always going to integrate design into it.
Back when you were much younger, you used to be a big fan of art yourself. And I believe we have just some quick footage here where you've truly went all in just exposing how you were feeling and just other scenarios in life, through various moments here. I believe this should captivate your mind a little bit. You've done this back in the day.
Yes.
And just the concept of drawing and just illustrating just what was going on, at the time, and just trying to like describe, the things that you were surrounded with, and with the notion of like just portraying yourself in various ways. You started off from there, and then you eventually became a role model and a celebrity for many. And as I mentioned before, you have in the past, you've made a lot of incredible collabs. You've been a content creator for a long time now, and you've been a keynote speaker on almost every other ends that you, and at such a young age. And I remember you saying backstage, this is very unprecedented. So I wanted to get a sense on whether or not you saw yourself do this kind of work that you do now, like in the past. Like if you were to ask your younger self around that time, would that person agree with you, or would she have seen herself do this kind of work now?
Well, first of all, I want to say like amazing research. This is the most I've ever seen someone like do the research. I really love that. It reminds me of, the Sean Evans from the Hot Ones show. Like you really do your research, so I really appreciate that.
He's dope.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I think when I was younger, I always said I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to be Pablo Picasso. It's crazy how you found this because it's on my website. Like nobody reads to that.
We'll cut that out.
But yeah, essentially I said in my yearbook, I think this was my middle school yearbook or elementary, something like that. I was like, I want to be an artist and a famous YouTuber when I grow up.
Did that concept change over time? Because you started off, as you can see here, like drawing these like amazing pieces of art, and now you're actually portraying the art and content creation. So did you see that concept like change over time in your experience?
Oh, definitely, for sure. I think for me, like I will always be an artist at heart, and I'm still an artist at heart. But I think the way it changed was because when I went from high school to college, like in that summer between high school to college, I was looking up like, oh, like how viable, like how feasible is it to be an artist in society? And it's not. It's like you're going to be a starving artist. You are going to be selling paintings that no one will probably buy unless you're doing content creation. But even then, it's like really hard. This is like pieces that are extremely hard to sell because it's super oversaturated. So I looked up like what's the next best career, and the two best careers are like finance and like computer science, like software engineering. So I was like, okay, I'll switch to a CS degree. I'll do CS. For my first year of college, I was originally at a traditional brick and mortar school called Queens College.
Walk us through, your just overall college experience and counting, in terms of like, what were some of the like main takeaways you had throughout that experience as you are like navigating yourself into this like complex world of various realities, where things that you try out only pays off, in various scenarios, right? When it comes to actually landing in an opportunity that actually reflects the work that you have done in the past. So walk us through like how that experience sort of like changed your perception as a person and as a public figure now, like being reached out by a wider audience.
Yeah, for sure. So I can start from like freshman year. Freshman year, I was originally undecided, but then I saw the Glassdoor thing and I was like, okay, I'll do CS. But originally I was in design and then like business or whatever. So I was like really confused. But I had this like hackathon phase where I first like learned HTML, CSS, JavaScript, which are like coding languages for web development. And then I dove into like my first few hackathons. I won a hackathon and I was like, wow, I love coding, but I also love design and I also love the management. There's so much that I like about tech. So when I did my first Bitly software engineering internship, I realized like I love everything and I don't know what to do. So I did my Microsoft New Technologies internship by the end of my freshman year. And I realized that I'm gravitating more towards PM, product management, which is like the intersection between design, business, technology. It's like you do user research, really overall, you're the CEO of the product or a feature. Um, and I realized like I want to go in that direction. However, I was not completely ready to be a full PM intern. So then I was grinding for Explore. Um, and the next year, I realized like I didn't want to go to an in-person school because I have so many things on the side. Like I want to create YouTube videos on the side. I want to do more hackathons. I want to maybe host my own workshops, like virtual Figma workshops. Um, and so what I did was I transferred to this school called WGU. It allows you to work at your classes at your own pace. You do a class, you take a test, you pass, go to the next one. And you keep on doing that until you finish all 35 classes that is needed for your major. So I was a CS major at the time still. And essentially, I went through that period of burnout because I was transitioning. I was settling in with the fact that, oh my God, I'm at home in my mom's basement and I have no friends. Like I don't know, like all my friends, like from high school and just like everywhere on LinkedIn, they're all going to a traditional brick and mortar school. They're in a dorm. They're meeting so many people, and I was getting so much FOMO. So I became burnt out that first 6 months. But when I went into the Microsoft internship, I got a taste of like what the college life was like. And I really loved it, the in-person aspect. I loved getting to meet people in person. I loved getting to blend in with the adults. Like they treated me like an employee. They treated me like an adult for the first time, and I felt independent. I felt free. And I slowly started to realize like, whoa, I do want to be a PM. I do want to be a designer. I want to be both. So I finished the Microsoft internship. It was amazing. Met so many friends, so many experiences. I shipped my own product to the Microsoft Viva Engage team, which is the team that I was on. And basically, I was able to interview for the return offer because originally the return offer for default Explore internship is software engineering intern. So I was supposed to be a software engineering intern, but they said if you want to change to PM, you have to re-interview. So I did the interview, got the offer the next day, and now I'm returning as a product manager intern for summer 2024. And now the best part, right after the Microsoft internship, that's where the magic happens. So right now I'm currently in my junior year. It's my best year yet. And the reason why is when I attended the Grace Hopper celebration, that's when everything clicked. I met a community of so many amazing women at that conference, so many friends. People recognized me at the conference. This was the first time when I realized like, damn, like I am kind of famous. Like, and I was getting recognized left and right. People come up to me to take pictures with me. To have conversations with me and like, oh, can you be in my video? Like, oh my God. They were texting their friend, like, oh my God, I'm meeting Skyler Basco. And I'm like, what is this? Like, I feel like I'm living the childhood dream. People did recognize me at Microsoft as well, like that previous summer, but it wasn't as big as this. And that was when I realized that this is what I'm meant to do. Like, I'm actually impacting people. People told me that they built their website because of me. People told me that they got into Microsoft because of me, that they got into big tech companies. They got their dream internships, that their career trajectory changed because of my content.
So how are you processing all of that?
Yeah, I'm still constantly processing because I everywhere I go and every time I go to an event, I just like I think like, I'm just a normal human being, but then when people walk up to me and they start taking pictures and they start having conversations, I get slightly like freaked out. Like I slightly like, oh my gosh, shoot, I want to go back home, but at the same time like I like it. I like meeting people who are impacted. Like it's so interesting to see like all the different ways I've inspired people, whether it be through building their own LinkedIn brand or whether it be through like getting an internship, getting their dream job, building their first website. Like, I think I was like, whoa, I think the burnout led to something even more amazing. I think that period in life where I was stuck and I was lost was because I didn't realize the impact I was having. I didn't think that I had value, but in reality, all this time I had value to share. And I think that's something that a lot of people miss out on is that they have value to share and like you will impact people if you just post about it. And you have to realize that the work that you're doing is not for nothing. It will be for nothing if you don't share it. A lot of people say like, oh, it could be coming off as arrogant. I don't want to be like conceited if I like share my work. But I don't think that's that at all. Like people want to see your work. At the end of the day, some people will hate you, some people will like dislike you, some people will be neutral about you, some people will like you, but some people will love you and will be impacted with you, impacted by you. And I think that's the beauty of content creation is that I'm at peace with the fact that my content will be cringe to some people, but to other people, my content will be inspiring and I will be the person that they want to be when they grow up. And people have told me that. And I still can't process it, obviously, like to this day. And I just started going to more conferences and getting recognized, handing out my business cards, handing out stickers.
And that's exactly what I started doing. Because I knew that if I wanted to increase my networks and my chances of being recognized, in the public eye at any conference that I go to, that's what I usually start with. I just hand out my business cards, even though there's no like right way to go about it. But since you have been to various career fairs and you've hosted workshops and some of the conferences yourself, what can you tell us about the nature of career fairs, the typical ones that you always go to? Like, was there anything odd that you saw in terms of diversity, like the level of professionalism and networking and stuff like that?
Yeah, for sure. I think for me something interesting that I found from the Grace Hopper celebration, you might have heard about the controversy about a lot of men infiltrating the career fair. I noticed a lot of them were like pushing the women and like it caused a lot of controversy and even like Anita B or addressed it. I think I would see them commenting about like taking women's jobs and stuff on like social media platforms. They would brag about it. And I think it just goes to show like why these conferences were made. Like it was intended for the exact opposite. It's not to isolate a specific gender, but it's to uplift the gender that has been severely underpaid and severely underappreciated throughout history. Women, it's just the facts. Like it's like women have been super underpaid. There's a huge gender pay gap, and a lot of the times like when women speak out about promotion or just like praise from their manager or anything like getting a raise, it's a lot harder to get a raise. It's harder to get a promotion as a woman in technology, especially since it's such a male-dominated field. And I think that hopefully with the improvements from the next few conferences, moving forward, like from these types of women in tech conferences, hopefully that starts to change. And that's why I'm here advocating for women in tech, because I feel that we do deserve that seat at the table, that we deserve to demand that we have equal pay. We deserve to be able to get a promotion at the same rate that men do. And I think that also applies to people of color as well. I feel that sometimes people of color are unable to get as much of a raise and promotion as people who are most dominating in that field. So such as like white and Asians. And I will admit myself that I come from that privilege of being an Asian, although I'm a woman and I have disadvantages in that aspect. My advantages come into the aspect, and my privileges come to the aspect that I'm Asian, and Asians and whites, like more specifically, like Southeast Asian, like, and South Asians, and then whites, they dominate the tech field. And I think I don't see as many people of color, such as Black and Hispanic and Native American, and I tend to see that a lot of them, they might have a lower pay. It's harder for them to feel included in the workspace, and a lot of my people of color friends in these minorities, they have told me about the struggle of fitting into workplaces at some of these big tech companies where they felt very excluded as a woman and also as an ethnic minority. So I think for me, I'm glad that there are a ton of different content creators out there who are both like women, people of color, LGBTQ plus, from all these different diverse communities who are coming together to empower their respective communities and friends and people to enter the tech field without hesitation. I think there's always going to be so much work to be done. Obviously, like over the past history with like Roe v. Wade situation and like so many different other things, like there's so much we always have to work on as a country, but we're definitely making changes. Like these women's tech conferences and these like diversity conferences are just a testament of that. And it's unfortunate that sometimes they're infiltrated, and they are being worked at in the opposite way than we intended, but at least we are addressing and like making changes, and a lot of influencers were speaking up about it, and we're making change to actually improve the situation so that women can actually get the seat of the table, women can get the internships they deserve, women can get that promotion, that raise that they deserve, that they have needed for a long time since they've been underpaid for so long. So I think, like there's a lot of pros and cons with everything going on, but at the end of the day, like I'm not going to stop advocating for women's tech, for people of color. I understand I come from a place of privilege being an Asian, but I also come from a place where I can sympathize with women who have been mistreated in the tech industry.
As a content creator yourself, you've navigated on various grounds. You spoke on various experiences that you had in the past, where the more new milestones that you hit along the road, the more clear it becomes as far as, what does that mean being a part, in this society where you can contribute so much and deliver as much content as you need. And I want to know another milestone that you've achieved earlier. You were featured in Times Square billboard last year, if I'm correct. Now, one thing that kind of stood me out, and this is probably going to shock you here, but Morgan was on the billboard as well, and she was a guest on her show 2 seasons ago. She will go on all day just bragging about that experience nowadays. I would assume so. Since you lay out the red carpet anywhere you go, technically, as a content creator yourself, like what did that milestone mean to you? Just by being in the billboard, like, did you see yourself like get to that scenario at one point?
No, like I really didn't expect it. I mean, for me, like in a sense, while I didn't expect it, I knew in my heart that I was meant to be famous, and it's not to say in a way that is supposed to come off as like, oh, like I'm gonna be famous and everyone's not. I mean, like in a sense that
that's what Taylor Swift would say. So you're not that
I'm
excludes
like,
you.
yeah, it's what my gut says. Like everyone has a gut feeling, and like that's just a gut. It's just the direction that the universe is pulling me in, and it's what I've been manifesting, and I feel like that is my form of happiness. It's like achieving that fame that I've always wanted since a kid and watching YouTubers. So when I was like in Times Square, my reaction was crazy. Like I was crying tears of joy. I was excited. I was jumping. I was dancing. I was like having the time of my life, because I realized at that moment that I could achieve like anything I can set my mind to. Like I could do anything. I felt like empowered to do the next thing. I was like, what's next? Like Ariana Grande, thank you, next. Like I'm appreciative of this moment.
How dare you? Please go
I-
on.
Yeah, I'm appreciative of this moment. I'm grateful for everything that comes to me, and I know that, as the saying goes, I'm really into manifestation, so I believe that I don't chase, I attract, and I attract good things into my life. Only good things follow me, and only good things serve me, and I cut out the things that don't. And I think that because I had that mindset going into the second half of 2023, I was able to achieve that dream. And I happened to be in New York, and obviously I live in New York. I happened to be in New York while the billboard was there, which is something that not many people get to do. Most people just see the video. They're like, oh, like I'm in, I don't know, California, and then I like see the video from New York. But like, I
8
was
billion people in this planet have yet to see this, so just wait.
I mean,
Just
there
wait
are
till
a
it
few
happens.
people who actually said like, "Oh my God, Skylar, I saw you on the billboard. Like I was walking through Times Square and I was like, is that her? Like that's her. That's crazy."
You know
Um,
what I said earlier when I saw that the first time? No, I thought that was a deep fake. And I say that with all sincerity, because like, deep fakes are around everywhere. And honestly, like, Times Square, it's a very interesting place because businesses can get away with art, in some respects. And I'm not sure if this shocks you at all, but like one thing that I have noticed is that there were several billboards out there that seemed very realistic, than it should be, or that it's mind blowing. You know what I'm saying? So I thought I would point that out because, like I said, incredible milestone. I'm just curious on my own, and this is something I'll find out myself. Is that like, what would it take for me to get to Times Square? You know what I'm saying? And just like maybe have a cameo with Morgan Young. Now that I asked her 100 times, for this incredible segment, it could be a paid sponsorship, but who knows? Just the last thing here. What do you look forward to in 2024?
yeah, for sure. I mean, I look forward to number one. I'm gonna speak at Harvard next month with Morgan Young. My LinkedIn bestie, like we became really close friends over the past few months. Like we met at Grace Hopper celebration for the first time. We're gonna be meeting in person for the second time. But we've been like keeping in contact like every day. So great, amazing person. So speaking at that, I might be speaking like a few times at Harvard. Like there's a few things that I've also been invited to at Harvard. I am in contact with a few other Ivy League schools, a few other like top 10 schools that I'll be speaking at like throughout the country. So I'll just be like traveling back and forth. I'm excited to release my first ever book at the end of the year. I've always wanted to be a New York Times bestseller. So I hope that this is the one. I want to do a book signing by like 2025. I want to release it in Barnes and Noble and have a book signing, have a meet and greet, have a nationwide tour, Um, yeah, I want to do that. I want to release some merch one day. Like I'm already giving away some merch. Like every time I meet people,
Hey, this is the best place to start. LA Rams. Just remember this. It's the best place to start. To sell
Of course.
sponsored merch. Don't follow the Tiger Woods route. I don't recommend that.
Of course, I'm maybe some beauty products. Like I want to be in the beauty industry, and honestly, like
Who would you want to collab with? If you were to if you had the chance to collab with anyone in the beauty industry, who would you collab with?
beauty industry. Okay, I'm gonna take this a different direction because in general, I actually emailed Mr. Beast like to be featured in his video. If I So Mr. Beast currently has like
You
157.
gotta be shitting me. Are you for reals right now?
Yeah, so I
What?
For real though, because Mr. Beast knows how to dominate the algorithm so fucking well that he can outpace anybody, especially Microsoft Trap remixes. But hey, why not?
I wouldn't mind it. Yeah, Mr. Beast currently has like 150K followers on LinkedIn. I currently have like almost 25K, but I believe that I can pass him quite soon if I just do it consistently.
What?
I know that's a challenge. That's a big challenge, Mr. Beast, but he posts like once a month on LinkedIn. I post every day, twice a day, 3 times a day sometimes.
Mr.
So-
Beast calls anything but a challenge. You know.
Yeah, so Mr. Beast, if you're listening to this, I hope You ready for the challenge? I hope you accept the deal.
He's not.
I emailed his manager, I emailed everyone. Didn't get a response yet, but I'm still gonna keep doing it. I'm going to keep creating content. I'm gonna keep tagging him until I get featured. I want to be featured in Mr. Beast Philanthropy. I want to do a video that's like, I helped 100 students get internships or something. I did this. I helped 100 homeless people get employed or something like changing people's lives through like getting into big tech. Or just like anything. Like I helped people get into tech. I gave like 100 students like laptops in wherever, you know, like to code, just start coding.
Hey,
So
best bet. Save that for the job interview. You know, he may land you on the spot. Who knows? Just ask him for a safer trap. You know what I'm saying? For a less risky trap. As somebody who likes to be, who tries to be a big fan of Mr. Beast and sympathizes with him in various ways possible, I honestly wouldn't mind seeing you a segment, you know, with him and see where that goes from here. I think you will. But so far, you had an incredible career, and I think young people will look back, you know, and say that this is the best place to start. And that was Skyler Basco. She is currently a product management intern at Microsoft, a content creator herself, and the founder and career coach at Students to Big Tech LLC. Skyler, thank you so much for being here.
yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for having me, Jeremy.
We'll be right back with a quick commercial.
Hi, we're Visible, and here's our 2 years resolution to help you save on wireless. Get one line with unlimited 5G data on Verizon's network, now just $20 a month for 24 months. That's 20 for 24 in 2024. Nice. Switch now at Visible.com. Ends January 31st.